Okay, bunnies, the energy for April is all about your domain. What is your domain? And there is this natural, fluid, inescapable restructuring of the edges of your boundaries of your empire. So there are places that are going to contract this month. There are places that are going to naturally expand this month. And there are going to be repairs that are required at the boundary line. So that's the conversation for April. It all takes place through this lens of justice, of natural order, natural rebalancing, how we take the love in our beings and our hearts, how we take it to the street to make a more just world for all of us. And it starts at home. And so the foundational work that you are going to engage in April sets the stage for the eclipse season coming at the end of April, sets the stage for I would imagine, much more dynamic May. And there's just a lot to be said for taking stock of what's yours, keeping your energy home, and allowing the natural fluctuations in your boundary line to take a new shape. Pretty cool. It's giving everything is sacred. It's giving art. It's giving light you up and turn you on and set you free. It's giving curiosity. It's giving you are the wisdom keeper. It's giving freedom, more freedom. It's giving love, please more love. It's giving you are more magical and powerful than you can comprehend. It's giving, I don't know what's happening, but I am so here for it. It's giving you are pure potential. It's giving mystical. Okay, so let's talk about the energy of April. In April, we're always dealing with 4 energy. We're always dealing with the energy of the Emperor. The energy of the Emperor is about boundaries and balance and what is my domain. And so in April, if you kind of like begin to track back, you'll notice you're always confronted on some level with the idea of what is mine to manage. So you get a real sense of your garden or your empire, begin to really see the fences of your life, the boundaries of your life. And in April, the questions come up around, is that something that I want to, like, where does my work lie? Does my work lie in being in that bounded space and tending to my garden? Does my work lie in expanding my boundaries, expanding my fences out into the open frontier? Does my work lie in defending these boundaries and saying, like, no, this is a fence and I need to repair it and declare it and say to the world, this is mine? And so, but no matter where we are in our evolution, in our journey, this is what we're dealing with. Like, I have a set empire in the world. I am the emperor of my own domain. And it is mine to tend to. It is part of my purpose, my work, my legacy. This is what's mine. And that can be your creative work, your, some like fledgling thing you're just getting off the ground. It can be a huge empire. It can be a family. It can be a piece of land. It can be a business. It can be a career. It can be so many different things, right? But have a sense, like, just close your eyes for a moment and just think about, like, what is my domain? What is mine to manage? And what's really interesting when you sit with that question is you notice that sometimes you're actually focused on things that are not your domain, and your energy is actually in places that are not yours to tend to, not yours to cultivate and be in charge of. And then sometimes you kind of get real clarity if you ask that question, like, oh, right, this is actually where my energy should be. So April is always going to be about that time. What I would say about April of this year is that we're going to be dealing with boundaries. We're going to be dealing with what is my domain. And we're going to be also dealing with the energy of justice, because we are in a 7-year. So when you're looking at April of 2023, you're looking at the energy of both the 7-year and the 4-month. How do those two things come together? Well, in our case, they come together as justice. The 11 in tarot. And justice has its own energy, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the conversation. But to begin with, the cards I pulled, I pull a lot of supporting cards when I kind of feel into the energy of this month. It centers on this place of surrender, and action. So just feel those concepts wrap around the idea of your boundaries. Feel those concepts wrap around the idea of your domain. And I would say that this idea that on many levels, we are going to be confronted with what is ours to manage. And just to clarify and take a step back, right? Emperor card in tarot, number 4, we're talking about the idea of what is your domain, but we're talking about it from this really lofty perspective of the divine masculine. The healthiest expression of the emperor is the unchanging witness consciousness. So it is the part of you, it is the part of the universe that gazes upon the world, gazes upon your sensations, your emotions, your thoughts, your life, the world all around you, and it's just a yes to all of it. It's just unchanged, unaffected, no judgment, no stickiness, just pure pure awe at the world. And you need to understand that working with the emperor energy is working with witness consciousness. It is working with this idea that there is nothing wrong ever. Everything is acceptable. Everything is worthy. And so when you begin to work with emperor energy, we're talking about it out in the world, but we start with how you treat yourself, how you witness yourself, how you cultivate that supreme stillness in your own body and in your own life. The emperor, when it comes up in tarot, it asks us to say, like, how does consciousness express itself? How does the idea of the witness express itself? And more importantly, how much responsibility are you taking for the way in which you witness yourself, the way you witness the world, the way you hold space? In its ideal expression, the emperor is the most trustable guardian, the trustable king. And you have that energy within you, so we don't give that power away to someone else. We might have trustable kings in our life. We might have people who represent that, male or female. But the emperor, the first place to investigate the emperor is in your own body and in your own expression of the world. So how safe am I with myself? How loved am I in all of my variation and all of my messiness and all of my imperfection? What is the part of me that does not walk away? What is the part of me that stays and that says it's going to be all right and says that I won't abandon you? That's emperor energy. And so first we cultivate that within our own space. First we cultivate that in our own lives. That is the part of us that does inner child work, the part of us that does ancestral work, the part of us that says, no matter what, I pick myself up, I look myself in the eyes in the mirror and I say, you're doing okay, right? There's no judgment in the emperor. I, as the emperor, have the capacity to be with the whole of the human experience. I have the capacity to be with everyone who exists in my domain. Nothing is relegated to shadow. Nothing is relegated to beyond my boundaries. If I have said this is my domain and your spirit, your body, your life is your domain at the very least, if I have said this is in my domain, then nothing gets turned away. I take responsibility for all of it. So that's the emperor in its most beautiful expression. And so in April, we're talking about this idea of, okay, what is your domain? And I feel in April of 2023, we're talking about this again through the lens of justice, which is through the lens of rebalancing. So that question of witnessing what is mine to manage, witnessing if my energy and my attention is actually in that space or if it's somewhere else, if I've kind of like sent my awareness off into some other domain that frankly is really none of my business. And so my first job in April will be to pull it back to what's mine. Pull it back to what's mine, feel what is my domain, what is mine to manage, and then repair and expand or contract as necessary. And then this is where kind of the energy of this specific month comes in, to do that with a sense of ease and flow. So in this month ahead, there's no forcing boundary expansion. There's no forcing a recalibration of where your energy is. It's a natural flow state. Like justice is saying, let's bring it back into balance. And that can mean so many things, right? That can bring it back into balance, meaning I make my world smaller. It can say bring it back into balance, meaning it's time for me to expand. It can say bring it back into balance in terms of just witness this a little more clearly, just stay with yourself a little more clearly. So then justice, I'll just say like a word or two about justice, which, is obvious. When you hear the word justice, you probably have your own internal reaction, your own idea of what justice is. And it may be positive, negative, a combination of both of those things. But in the tarot, we're talking about justice. We're talking about rebalancing of the scales. So 1 in the tarot is me, myself, and I. It is my connection to the divine. It is the Aries energy of I am. And with justice, we have a double 1. And so what that means is that I need to not just be concerned about what is right for me, what is good for me, but I also need to be aware of what is good for you, what is true for you. And so it's this mirroring of my 1 energy. It's the mirroring of my I am energy with your I am energy. My favorite or quote about justice, right, is justice is love taken to the streets. I think Baldwin said that. And the idea of that is that it's like you can love and you can stay in this bubble of, and this is interesting, we're talking about emperor energy, right? We can stay in this bubble of like, this is mine, this is what I desire and need. But to be fully human, to live in a just world, I also have to recognize that you yearn and long as well, that you have things that you desire and that you want to keep safe as well. And it is my job as a human to protect that and to honor that in you. And that's where justice comes in. So we can't be fully satisfied in the world, and I believe that, unless we are looking around and seeing that other people are truly satisfied as well. And I think that's where any kind of spiritual inquiry takes you. You kind of dive into the space of self-inquiry and self-analysis and me and my relationship to God and all that stuff, or the divine or source. And where that takes you through that tunnel is this place of, right, I am you and you are me. And I can't feel the full expansion and satisfaction of my spirit unless you have the opportunity to feel that as well, unless I can see the path for you to have that as well. And as my brother or sister, it's my job to, help you when you falter. And it's my job to kind of toe the line and speak for you when you're unable to speak for yourself. So that is the idea of justice. Okay, so now we're talking about these 2 cards and how they fold together, these 2 energies and how they fold together. The energy of what is my domain, what is mine to manage, is my attention there? Am I actually cultivating and nurturing and staying in that space? Am I kind of minding my business in the highest sense of the word? And then the justice is, how are you? Where are you? How are we taking this love that overflows in our best, when we are in our best form? And how am I, sharing that to you? How am I ensuring that you have equal access to that love and satisfaction? So this idea of boundaries, you can see how this idea of the boundary, the border, becomes really important. And so again, I'll just say that in April, that is going to be the conversation around my boundaries. And with a higher perspective. So not that the Emperor is not a higher perspective. It's an incredibly important part of your evolution, incredibly important part of your taking responsibility for your space and your life and your power. It's completely tied to your integrity. So your word, your bond, like that I can trust you, that I know who you are, that I know where you stand. I mean, Emperor energy is incredibly important from that sense. But if we're just staying in Emperor energy, then we're just staying in the sense of like, what's mine to manage? And how loving a shepherd am I being of that, of all of that, right? But then we take the Justice card and we overlay it, because again, we're in the 7 year, and it's like our perspective lifts. If you can picture that we're like these kind of farmers, right? With our little fence and our land and our range, and you lift your perspective and you begin to see all the connecting properties, right? You begin to see all the connecting land. Your focus becomes on who is connected to my domain. How are they connected to my domain? How am I nurturing what's mine in such a way that there's overflow and I'm able to nurture what is yours as well? I'm able to lend a hand when you need it as well. So it's a really interesting energy, and it requires a lot of us. And the supporting energy that I'm pulling around it is really interesting because it's both incredibly soft and gentle and incredibly fierce. It's surrendering and it's embracing. I mean, literally, two of the cards I pulled from Nina's beautiful Inner Child Oracle deck were the two cards, surrender and embrace, which is so different, but also so like equally important in this month, right? So what is it time for me to let go of? And what is it time for me to unfold? What is it time for me to fight for? And what is it time for me to soften around? And this idea of my fierceness being very much wrapped up in what I value and what is beautiful to me and what is important to me. You're going to feel a lot of like these conflicting currents of energy, like these moments where you feel called up. What are the things that I am getting fierce about? What are the things that are precious to me? What are my values? And the image, as I'm talking to all of you, the image that keeps coming through is this idea of the fence line. And where does that fence line need to retract? Where does that fence line need to expand? And where does it need to be repaired? And so thinking about that in your own life, like what are the things that you're being asked to bravely expand into? Where are the places you're being asked to bravely take on more? And where are the places where you're being told, you know what, that's actually not yours to manage anymore? And you can feel the fence line kind of retracting a little bit. And I encourage you in this month to notice that anything that's retracting, anything that is no longer yours to manage, you're no longer yours to engage with, like that's right and good. And trust that. And trust that that is actually asking you not so much to be involved less, be connected less, more that it's asking you to be connected in new ways. It's actually asking for the things that you are connected to kind of their roots to fatten, those channels to kind of fatten and become more juicy and more alive and more energetic. Making peace with anything that's being asked to contract, being brave about anything that's being asked to expand. And then the third dimension is this idea of where do you need to repair the fence line? And that would be to kind of, again, closing your eyes, sitting with the sense of my domain and just feeling that. Maybe you're visual, maybe you're more somatic, like what is the sense of my domain and where are the ruptures? So where are the places where your integrity does need repair or your boundaries do need repair? And to honor the fact that in April, those opportunities will show up, meet them bravely and meet them softly and meet them with compassion. Knowing that wherever those repairs, like whatever they offer to your fence line, like whether they renegotiate it or whether they just make more beautiful, the current boundary, whatever happens, again, it is happening for your good. Astrologers that I love, particularly my beautiful cousin Maddie, like they talk about March and May being these pivotal months in this year, in this 2023 year. And I think they are. And so what does that mean for April? And that comes back to what I said in the very beginning, like 3 energy, which is March energy, 5 energy, which is May energy. These are inherently like active energies. The numbers around them, the cards around them are inherently like action oriented. There's just movement. There can't help it. This 4 month, even though obviously life doesn't stop and we keep moving and we keep changing and evolving, there is a moment of that 4 offers you stability and foundation. So that 4 months just says to you, like, you can pause here and you can take a moment to turn back into your own foundation, your own sense of structure, your own sense of stability, and be with that. And what's again interesting is that knowing that your sense of structure and stability is a way of serving the world, is a way of offering love to the world. It is not selfish. It is not a waste of time to stay with your domain for this month and repair and negotiate the fence line where you need to negotiate it, knowing that that is actually setting you up for more beautiful, more engaged, more nourishing movement in the month of May. So you're going to feel this kind of push-pull between keeping it close and expanding, between where you're going to feel in your body like this impulse to contract is going to be equal to the impulse to expand, and those are going to happen in different dimensions. And it may surprise you where those things come up. And so the practice for this month, if I could offer you a practice, it would be just to stay with yourself, keep checking in, keep closing your eyes, keep coming back to my domain. What is mine? Where am I? And anytime you find yourself away from your space, getting involved in anyone else's business or stability or foundations, like, it is not your business in April. Pull it back to you and say, what's happening on my farm? Like, what's happening in my kingdom? What is happening in my empire that needs attending to? And that is really important. And it can almost feel like you can be impatient about it, because it can feel like, I'll get to it. But no, get to it now. Like, attend to it now. And I promise you, it will behoove you when we move into May, we move into the summer energy, we move into eclipse season, even happening at the end of April. You will be so happy you stayed home for a minute. You'll be so happy, metaphorically and literally. You'll be so happy you attended to what is yours to attend to. Children, work, space, anything that comes to you when I say your domain. So that's what we're dealing with for the month of April. And I'm going to pull a little card for every sign, and I will go over that with you, just give you a little tip, a little insight into what your sun or rising needs to know about the energy of April. Okay, let's start where we are. Aries, sun or rising, Knight of Wands energy. So listen, you guys in particular, you're going to have a lot of get up and go. You're going to have a lot of fire, a lot of curiosity, maybe a little bit of recklessness. Just again, even more so, keep yourself in check in terms of what is yours to manage. Take all that fire and heat and creativity and attend to what is yours. Don't get involved. Don't push that energy out into the world, because it might not be as beautifully received as you would like it to be. So in terms of the Knight of Wands, this is the energy of movement, of moving messages of love and passion and inspiration and excitement and creativity, and also temper. So have in mind that there might be a little recklessness around your fire energy this month, and use it to kind of light up your own world versus maybe getting involved in other people's worlds. Taurus, Ace of Cups, beautiful energy. Fall in love with yourself. I actually would invite you, again, feeling into this energy of domain and what is yours to manage. The Ace of Cups is fall in love with your space, fall in love with your body, fall in love with the world around you. And if you don't feel inspired, then again, sit with your domain, come back to your energy, and be grateful for what is beautiful, what is working, what is flourishing in your world, and put more of your energy into that. That may draw love to you, that may draw connection to you, but most importantly, it's going to fill your heart with such beautiful energy that you really won't care who's coming and going, because life is going to be lighting you up, and that is going to feel so good. Gemini, Queen of Pentacles. So your energy for April is going to be around noticing. Queen of Pentacles is Earth Mama energy, right? So where can you tend to the actual physical world around you? Where can you be more nurturing and protective of your money, your body, your physicality? Earth energy is anything we can touch. Pentacles energy is anything we can touch. So, as Geminis, we can kind of get, I'm Gemini moon, right? We can get kind of our brains kind of pop, 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 pop. And the Queen of Pentacles is asking you to come back to your body with a sense of real gentleness and calmness. Patience will be your friend, but real, luxury and tenderness around how you care for your body and how you care for your space and how you care for your finances this month. Who do we have next? Cancer, the Fool. You are beginning a new journey, beginning a new sense of yourself in the world. The Fool energy is 0 in the tarot, and 0 always represents protection. So whatever feels new, feels unknown, feels maybe a little scary, a little uncharted territory in your life, know that you have the full blessing and wind of the universe behind you and at your back, and that everything about entering new territory is blessed by the universe right now. So kind of keep your eyes to the sun, keep your heart filled with the energy of what you actually are longing for, and know that the steps you take are blessed. And I'm excited for you. Has something about this energy in particular, feeling in this moment, feels like there might be a new version of you that you are getting to know, and it feels really, really good. Leo energy, 5 of Cups. So there might be some grief in this month, and particularly if you heard what I said earlier, like this idea of where the boundaries need to contract, what is no longer your domain, might be really relevant. You might be really feeling that this month. Even the idea of what's expanding, where you're expanding, might have you really tender about what you're leaving behind, or the old boundary line that you're leaving behind. And there might be repairs, again, like that idea of where do I need to repair, that also might be coming up. So just be really tender with yourself. You fierce, beautiful lions. Like, I know you're so optimistic, and your warmth is such a natural part of your being, that sometimes those rainy days, those cloudy days, those sorrows can be it can be kind of easy to burn them away in the light of the sun. And yes, and also it's okay that you're tender. It won't last forever. And so just be really gentle with whatever's coming up for you, and know that it's going to wash through, literally like a rainstorm. It's going to wash through, and the sun will shine again. You will feel your natural, beautiful self again. But this attention to how the shifting boundaries are making you feel is actually a really good thing, and a really healthy thing. And it will kind of allow you to shine brighter, and to feel even more warmth on the other side of it. Who do we have after Leo? We have Virgo, Page of Swords. So my Virgos out there, this idea of new ideas, thoughts, language, communication. The Page of Swords is the energy of learning to express yourself in a whole new way. And you might be messy at it. It might not come together perfectly. And I know my Virgos like it to come together perfectly. So just like trust the process. It's a beautiful trust the process reminder. Any ways you're trying to express yourself, trying to define yourself, trying to mentally understand yourself, you're like all I can feel is the applause of like, yes, go you, like, yes, try. I see you trying. I see you embracing this new way. And I know it's scary, and I know it takes courage, but you got this. And the Page of Swords is like one of my teachers says, it's like a teenager who just learns that their words can wound. So there's like a sharpness to it, but I don't really feel that in it as much as I feel like the kind of that clumsy feeling of a teenager trying to express themselves. And sometimes they might overshoot it, and that's okay. We love them anyway. Like, we love the part of them just trying to burst free and define themselves. So just have a lot of generosity and humor with yourself as you bravely kind of enter a new place in terms of your self-expression. Libra, 2 of Cups, beautiful energy. So 2 of Cups is all about kind of what I said, like, how do you go to the fence line and meet your neighbor and share your bounty with them, and how do you accept their bounty in return? 2 of Cups is the card of falling in love. 2 of Cups is the card of conception. So 2 of Cups is the melding of energies, the coming together of two energies to create something new and lovely and satisfying. So for my Libras out there, especially when we're thinking about Libra and justice, those cards are so intertwined. And the 2 of Cups is similar, right? It's 2 cups being balanced, but also offered to each other and exchanged. So, maybe you're thinking a little bit about how you hold your own energy and who you want to share energy with. That feels like it's something that's going to come up for you this month. And then my Scorpios, Page of Cups. So Page of Cups, it's interesting, you and Virgos with your pages. The Page of Cups is saying, like offers of love. So offers of love from all kinds of people and all kinds of moments where the universe is saying to you, like, here, you are seen, you are loved, and I want to give you something. I want to offer you something to show that to you. And it can be, it's always going to have the energy of love, but my feeling for you and just knowing what's happening in my own life, like, expand what's possible in terms of how you give and receive love, how you romance yourself, how you allow the world to romance you. The Page of Cups is always like it always feels good. And so allow what feels good, allow kind of new avenues, new like chords to kind of light up this month, and just see what happens. Who do we have after Scorpio? My Sagittarius, Chariot. So Sagittarius, we are in a chariot year, and you are being given the chariot card, which says to me that this is a particularly important month for you. And the energy around the chariot is to lean back, is to ungrip the wheel. So your task in this month is very much what I said at the beginning, like close your eyes. What is your domain, and is your attention there? And if your attention is in your domain, and you are clear and you are grounded, not only will you not make a mistake, but the universe will propel you exactly where you need to be. And so the lesson of this month for you is the lesson of this year for us all, which is to lean back and trust the momentum of your purpose, trust the momentum of your desire, trust the momentum of your longing, to know that you don't walk anywhere alone. Like you are a co-collaborator, a co-creator with this beautiful mystical world that we live in. So how much can you lean back and trust the momentum that you've created just by arriving here on Earth? That's a big one. So take good care of yourselves, and remember to keep checking in on, where is my energy? Is it where it needs to be, or is it drifting in someone else's domain? And that's really none of my business. And it's also incredibly disempowering. So pull your energy back home, Sagittarius. Capricorn, 5 of Pentacles. So you and Leo are both going through slightly difficult energies this month. And the 5 of Pentacles is, the card of noticing where you felt abandoned in your life, and also noticing where you abandon yourself. So again, like this, in this energy of the month ahead, in this energy of April and boundaries and domains and justice, come back to yourself, like check in with yourself, like where am I taking the best care of myself? Where are my needs getting maybe displaced because I think someone else needs something, because I think my attention should be elsewhere? Come back to you and do a really important and really thorough check-in with, am I holding myself with the utmost love, with a total lack of judgment, with acceptance and generosity and curiosity and patience and humor? Like wherever I am, whatever I'm struggling with, I still deserve embrace. I still deserve to be loved and held. So just allow that energy to kind of come back to you. Be very gentle with yourself this month. And also, here's an important thing that just kind of came through, and it's an important dimension of this. When you have to pull the boundaries back, like I said earlier, like when you have to retract, there can be some guilt associated with that. Like, I'm pulling back my boundary. What happens to that empty space? Does that person on the other side of that fence feel abandoned, neglected, unloved? No. There might be a reaction to you shifting the boundaries, but they're okay. And there's a rhythm to all of this. And sometimes, we kind of love from this place of depletion, and we keep the line there because, well, that's where the line's been, and that's how we've given in the past, and that's what that person has needed. But the 5 of Pentacles for you this month is saying, yeah, but what do you need? And trust that your first job is to check in with your own being, and you can't really love or care or serve or help another person from a place of depletion. So first check in with you, and then be really kind to yourself. When you have to shift boundaries, trust the other person, trust their power, trust their capacity to recreate, trust their capacity to expand into new frontiers. Trust them to manage their process, and you stay with yours this month. Aquarius, Ace of Pentacles. Again, like aces are always a gift from the universe, and pentacles are gifts of real things, gifts of money, gifts of health, gifts of space and land and home and beauty and all kinds of things, but things we can actually touch in the world. Aces are also a precious gift. They are given to us to nurture and to care for and to, kind of blow life into. So the Ace of Pentacles is a gift for you this month. Notice what's happening around you. Notice what's being offered to you. And trust your I just got such a chill in my body, like trust your body's instincts. When something shows up in the real world in particular and it's handed to you and you get that kind of full body chill, notice that, like stay with that, like nurture and tend to that this month. It has the capacity to really grow into something quite bountiful and quite satisfying and quite generous with the whole world. And Pisces, Knight of Cups. So it's interesting that Aries had the Knight of Wands and you have the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups is messages of love, gifts of love, love moving through space. Most traditionally we'd say like, someone's going to come to you with a love offer. And that might be true, Pisces. But I also like feel even more broadly, like, again, kind of what I said to Scorpio, like romance yourself, like notice the places where like life just wants to like turn you on and seduce you and make love to you, and say yes to more of that and allow the pacing of your life to slow down. Like the Knight of Cups, they're in no hurry. It's like it's all feels good to the Knight of Cups. It's all a seduction to the Knight of Cups. It's all like the whole journey is romantic and sexy and amazing. So slow your pacing down so that you can really enjoy that kind of sexy movement through the world and feeling the world as your lover. And maybe that means like a real world 3D person showing up or romancing you, or feeling more romance in your relationships. But maybe it also just means that like life is sexy and it feels good, and can you just kind of enjoy that in April? Can you allow yourself to feel that in April? Can you infuse your domain with more romance in April? So that's what I got for you guys. April feels like a really warm, exciting, inviting reset to our foundation. And so any work you have to do, tend to it, but also tend to it with a sense of like, I am creating foundations for a more beautiful, a more bountiful, a more satisfying future. So sending you guys so much love, and I hope this was helpful. And yeah, just speaking a little love to you, speaking a little light to you, and just so much utmost trust in the fact that anything you've gotten from this message is what you needed, and you are going to know exactly what to do. There are no mistakes. You are not, no effort of yours is wasted. No love of yours is ever wasted. And yeah, blessings and blessings on this April month. Bye, honey.